How's everybody doing tonight? It's day 28 of this wood trick dragon castle. So I think there's no more fooling around. We have to get this done tonight. We cannot go past tonight. I know that this probably is overdue, and really it's not even the best night. I'm starting a half hour late. I need to get up early. I have a busy day tomorrow, but we got to get this done. Like, even this thing, I think we were supposed to make 2 of these. I don't know why we only made 1 yesterday. Anyway, let's just get down to business and get something done. Though there are some things that I want to talk about, but I'll save that for when we get to a lull. So, all right, page 51 is where we're starting. So, 287, 80, okay. This is going counterclockwise. 84, 80, 284, 285, 286, 287 with 2 314s in the middle. So that's very similar to the previous thing that we did, which was this thing. So it's going to be something like that. So let's count up those 6 pieces. So we're at 864. We're still over 100 pieces away. You know what? I didn't check if camera 2 was straight. Yeah, it's not straight. Let me see. Oh, anyway. Close enough, I guess. You know what? This board is like almost empty. I'm just going to pop these 2 pieces out right now. They're 262s, so we probably won't need them. But if we do need them, they're 262. And I can go back to the second minute of this broadcast to find out. I just don't want to fumble through this sheet every time. I mean, it's only 2 pieces left. We probably don't even need these 2 pieces. And if I get rid of this board now, the rest of the night's going to go quicker. All right, now, what is it? 284 through 87. Yeah, here they are. And these are the last 4 pieces on this board. So we're going to finish with our second board in our 3rd minute. There's only 11 boards in this thing. All right, we got to get the order here right. I'm not sure that we do have it right. I wasn't paying attention. The only one that matters, though, is this last one because it has the door on it. I think that's the only one that matters. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, I'm going to rewind the live feed so I can see where that 3rd piece falls. All right, I'm watching the replay. It falls off screen. Yeah, everything's correct. These pieces are in the right order. I watched the replay. Okay, so they're in the right order, and we just ended our second sheet. That's got to be a record. 3 minutes into a broadcast, we completed 2 sheets. There's no way that's happened before. All right, now we need 314 times 2. Where's the 314s? Is that it? No, that's 319. All right, it's not here. Look on another board. Well, the good news is we only got 3 boards left. The bad news is I don't see 304 on any of them. Was it called 304? No, 314. Well, I don't see 314 either. All right, let's check this board again. I feel like it's here, and I'm looking at it and somehow not seeing it. Yeah, it is here. 314. It's right here. All right. We're going to fly, which means we're probably going to make mistakes, but we got to move. And I know that haste makes waste, and it's going to end up being a problem and a mistake, and we'll regret flying, but I don't think so, because we're flying on the 28th day and with purpose, and I feel like I have a good reputation when my back is against the wall tends to be when I do the best work. But let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's see if I mess up or not. Well, I almost messed up there. I need to put this piece in before I put the fourth piece on. But I didn't mess up. I almost messed up. Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, so we're still alive here. In horseshoes, I guess it almost counts in curling too. In horseshoes, bocce, curling, you kind of can get some points by just getting it close. And in hand grenades, I mean, it's a rather dark humor, but, you know, hand grenades work in proximity. You don't have to be, the bullet has to be on target. The hand grenade just has to be in the neighborhood. This is not going on for some reason. Do I just force it on? I could break the board if I try to force it on. Reset. Try again. Work that time. All right, one more. That's working. And then the one with the door. And so we're going to get that on. All right, so we're good so far. All right, what's next? All right, the next little bit here, we're going to combine. We're going to build this box, and then we can combine it with the thing we just did. So first we're building this box. That's another 6 pieces. 291, 307, and 323 times 4. So that's another 6 pieces. That brings us to 890. 870, sorry. Brings us to 870. I don't know where I got that 890 from. And while I gather these pieces, I'll mention. So I said that I'm going to be talking each night. So far I got 2 things that I'm going to cover. My 3rd grade teacher, Miss Martin, and my mom's father, my grandfather. You know, I'm starting, probably take me a couple of years to get through the stuff they taught me. At some point, I'll probably have my own stuff to say, but not yet. 307, 291. All right, so we did my grandfather yesterday, so we'll talk about something Miss Martin taught me today. And it's actually, by the way, here's the 323s. They're on board 9. And so were 307 and 291. They were also on board 9. Big splinter on this 291. Let's get that off. So tonight, what I'm doing right now is an example of something Miss Martin taught me. And it's kind of the opposite of what other people will teach you. The sort of prevailing wisdom that you'll be taught from any work advocate or work, person who either prepares you for a job or gets you a job, or even just someone selling their book on TV. They'll say, find a job that you enjoy and you'll never work a day in your life. Meaning get some job that you're passionate about and you'll want to work it, 20 hours a day, and you'll never get tired and you'll never feel like you're doing any work. That's what we're told. I don't know how true it is, but that's what we're told. And that's not what Mrs. Martin said. Whether she's right or wrong, that's for you to decide. All right, so we're going to put this piece in here. The lines on the receiver and the lines on the tab parallel, where that rule is going to hold throughout. So the example that she gave was pro athletes and how they have contract disputes and how they have fights and how they, complain to the newspapers. And she said they started off playing sports when they were kids because they enjoyed playing sports. And then they got a job getting millions of dollars or whatever the rates were, 40+ years ago. But they got, let's say, a good salary, let's call it that, to play sports, but they're somehow now unhappy. And she said they lost the thing that they loved because they took money. And her theory was that you shouldn't want money for that. Like, this is the opposite of what all those, work advisors will tell you. They'll tell you to work a job that you're passionate about and that you love. And her advice was the opposite. Was like, if you make the thing that you love your career, you'll grow to hate it. Sort of a strange thing for a teacher to say. Because there's this built-in assumption that people hate their job, and we like to think that the teacher doesn't hate her job. It's almost starting to sound like one of those riddles where the one person always tells the truth and the other person always lies. But in some sense, what she said was right. And in fact, we'd have to look through the newspapers from that year. I don't remember, but maybe there was like a strike going on. And, when a strike goes on, a lot of people say, like, you're getting paid millions of dollars to play a sport. Like, why are you striking? And my answer to that, a lot of people, it's kind of like a valid question. Like, I thought you enjoyed sports. Why are you striking? My answer to that is, why are you watching someone else play sports? I understand if you're like old and in a retired home, or if you're young and you're still learning. But like, if you're at the age that you could play sports, why are you watching someone else play sports and getting mad that they won't play? I sort of agree, like, they should play, right? I think that's logical. All right, let's just talk about this for a second. So I think this is going to slide all the way through, and you can see it here. So these two pieces are going to become like one. So they took something that they used to love, and they turned it into something that they don't love enough that they'll... Like, who's right in this situation? Do you think the person should keep playing? Or you think... Because, like, with the pro athletes... Okay, auto workers are striking right now. And I don't know what all their demands are. But you assume that there's auto workers with trouble making their mortgage, auto workers with, like, medical problems, auto workers who don't have their pensions fully funded. You would assume that there's a lot of, like, real-life problems that auto workers are striking for. Again, I'm not taking a side. I don't know the final answer. But I assume that there's a lot of legitimate, issues. Now, with the millionaire athletes, when the league minimum makes you a millionaire, how much is there left to complain about? Maybe you can complain about the hours. Maybe you can complain about you don't get enough time off or something like that, or the travel or something. There could be some things that you complain about, but money's probably not going to be, like, nobody's going to want to hear it. If you're an athlete in one of the major pro sports in this day and age, you're making more money than everyone else. You're making more money even than the top people in other fields, because it used to be that the athletes made good money, but so did other people. Like, they didn't make better than the plant manager or the congressman or something like that. And nowadays they do. Nowadays, like, the bench warmer, guy who never even gets in the game, makes like 10 times what the president makes. It was a big deal when Babe Ruth made more than the president. Nowadays, the worst player on the team makes more than the president. 10 times more than the president. All right, so we're about to do something. See this little box here? 347 to 345. Those are the two pieces. And then they don't say times 4, but it obviously is a times 4. They're going to go on top of this thing that we just built. So that's 8 pieces. 345, 347 brings us from 870 to 878. So what do you think? Would you want to get paid for your hobby? I would say it would be good as long as you enjoyed what you're doing. So I'm not really sure that I would credit Miss Martin with my decision making, but this channel right now is not monetized. I mean, I have the stats that I could get paid by YouTube, but there's one thing is, first of all, like when I watch YouTube videos, I hate the commercials, so I feel like I shouldn't add the commercials like to your experience of watching YouTube. Like if I hate it, why would I do it to my audience? Like, which is not to imply that I even have an audience, but I mean my theoretical audience, because if someone buys this puzzle, they want to follow along, they want to watch it, they're going to be very annoyed if there's commercials, or maybe they'll get tea during commercials. But anyway, that's sort of between them and their YouTube settings, but I haven't hit the monetization button, so I'm not the one ordering up the commercials if they do exist. But in addition to that, I'm also not feeling any pressure to make any certain amount of money. Like when you watch certain people's videos, even people who are popular, like Mr. Beast. My son turned on one of his videos, and then we turned it off like a minute later, which is not to say that it was bad, but it was there was some cringe, and it was stuff that was like, kind of like, why is he doing this? Is it like getting paid or something? And yeah, he is. I mean, I assume that his profession on his taxes probably says YouTuber. So if you want to make videos for fun, that may not be the same thing as the videos you make when your mortgage depends on it. Like when you get into YouTube, is it your hobby or are you trying to make money? And how do you do it differently in each case? I also make comic books. In fact, I've been making them 10 years before I started this stream. And I've done several comic books. Like I did Electromagnet, the Book of Rebel Nations. It's a almost nearly 300-page full-color comic book. It's the art is not like they're full-size pages. They're full color. The art is fully done. Like the full process, like ink, letter, color, write, draw, pencil. I mean, it's like the real deal. There's people who've worked in the comic book industry for a long time, and they don't have anything like that. That's like a full, cohesive 300-page story that's every word of it is exactly what they wanted. Because maybe they were working with collaborators where they weren't in charge, or they had an editor who could change stuff without their permission. Or they had a publisher who gave them notes. I mean, I never worked in the industry, but I hear about this like industry note concept. Well, if you choose to take that paycheck from the publishing house, the distributor, the movie production studio, I don't really know what the terms are, but whoever's those people that you sign the contracts with, the publishing company, the record studio, is that what they're called? Like when someone signs with a label, they call it a label. And then there's movie studios. Again, I don't know how it works. I just know that you sign a contract with these people and all of a sudden they're giving you notes. And, can you imagine? You like trying to do art because you want to express yourself and someone's giving you notes. Just put yourself in that position. Does that sound like fun, or does that sound like a job? Does that sound like a stress reliever or a stress inducer? Does that sound like you following your dreams, or does that sound like you making a buck? Yes, I mean, they can make a lot of money and there can be a lot of fun things about the job, but maybe it's not that fun. And I'm not even talking about, the celebrities that get into drugs necessarily, even just if they spend a ton of money. That's like a sign of unhappiness. You hear about some of these celebrities booking these hotels that cost, 100K per night. Maybe part of that is like an unspoken quid pro quo. Quid pro quo. I'm sorry, I don't usually say this term. Quid pro quo, I think it's maybe pronounced. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go to your city. You're going to give me this arena. I'm going to book your most expensive hotel. I mean, maybe it's like goes around, comes around, and it's part of the deal if you're a celebrity. I don't know, really. But it doesn't sound like you're doing what you want with your time. And then there's the things the celebrities have to do for publicity. They're at awards ceremony like every day. If you go to one or two award ceremonies, it's probably pretty exciting. If you're going to every award ceremony because you need the publicity, I think at some point they're not as exciting as they used to be. I'm not trying to tell you how you live your life. If if someone wants to pay you $50 million to play in the NBA, you probably should take it. Take it. You don't have to play 40 years in the NBA. You could play. I was watching a documentary on Netflix. I don't know when Netflix suddenly got sports documentaries. Netflix wouldn't launch at my house for like 2 years. But then I bought a Roku that has Ethernet, but I didn't set it up in the living room. I set it up in at my computer, which it's not plugged in. I only used it for one day. And I figure I'm going to set it up again when college basketball season starts. But anyway, now the Roku in the living room, the Netflix in the living room Roku works. Like, I don't know if it was like because I bought the Ethernet once, if it's just a coincidence, but it didn't. Netflix wouldn't play for like 2 years, and now it finally plays again. So somewhere in that 2 years when I hadn't launched Netflix, they uploaded a bunch of sports documentaries. And one of them is about Bill Russell. And he only played 13 seasons in the NBA, but he won 11 championships. He won 2 championships in college. There's only like 4 years of college. I don't even think he played the full 4 years, but he won 2 championships. He went to the Olympics. He won a gold medal. I mean, can you imagine? 2 college championships, Olympic gold medal, and 11 NBA championships in 13 seasons. Is there anyone in pro sports who has a record like that? And there's a more famous player, Wilt Chamberlain. Bill Russell according to this documentary, he beat him every time. Like, I don't know why Wilt Chamberlain is more famous. That's a little off track because I don't have an answer for you as to who was paying for money and who was playing for the love of the game. Although in the documentary they did kind of give the impression that Wilt was playing more for money because he started off with the Harlem Globetrotters, which is not a serious team. But I don't know how to interpret that because the Harlem Globetrotters were paying more money and having more fun. And in that case, I actually think I would tip the hat to Wilt on that one because Bill Russell was saying, oh, it's not serious. It's like they're making a clown out of you. I'm not so sure that's true. I mean, I think the Harlem Globetrotters is a lot of fun. Like, I never thought. I mean, I've seen the Harlem Globetrotters play a lot. Like, not in person. I've seen it on TV. I never thought that people were, like, clowning themselves. I thought it was, like, just for fun, Like, there's clowns at the circus. Is it like the clowns like insulting themselves? Is basketball only meant, like end one basketball? There was no league. Nobody was winning. I mean, I guess they kept scoring the games, but like I don't think anyone's memories of end one basketball were like who won the game and who lost it. That's not what they were doing there. And in Harlem Globetrotters, that's not what they were doing either. But this doesn't mean anything bad. Nobody was like being made fun of. I mean, it's great that Bill Russell won 11 championships in 13 seasons, but if he thinks that someone was embarrassing themselves by playing for the Globetrotters, I think he's wrong. I think if you have fun playing for the Globetrotters, play for the Globetrotters. All right, let me just talk about this next point in the instructions right now. 347, 345, and 338. So those are 3 pieces. But again, it doesn't say times 4, but it clearly is a times 4. So we're going to add 12 pieces. So now we're finally at 890. We said it before incorrectly. This time it's correct. We're at 890 of 978. So we're in the last 100 pieces, but we're not in the last 100 grouping, meaning that we didn't pass 900 yet. So anyway, 4 347s, 4 345s, and 4 348s. So what do you think? Who enjoyed their basketball more? Will Chamberlain or Bill Russell? I'll tell you from what we've heard since then, since their NBA time, it seems like Will Chamberlain was having the most fun. Which is not to say that I endorse everything that Will Chamberlain talks about that he was doing while he was in the NBA. But, I mean, you can't argue against that he was doing what he thought was fun. So, there's like different levels of fun. Like Bill Russell likes to hold his head up high and say he won the championships. Will Chamberlain like to have fun, get paid? Is that so wrong? Like, what is he doing wrong? Was Bill Russell doing it right? Maybe Bill Russell was doing it right. Maybe he had a hobby that was outside of basketball. Maybe basketball. No, he said that actually in the documentary, he said that the time he loved most was playing for the Celtics. Okay, so there it is. He loved playing for the Celtics. But what if he had hobbies outside of basketball? Yeah, I just don't know where I fall on this piece of advice from Miss Martin. I mean, I obviously followed it. I did comic books for nothing. I did sports basically for nothing. I might have got some scholarship out of it, but for the most part, for nothing. I wasn't ever a pro athlete in any way, shape, or form. I program computers. That's probably the closest thing. That's probably what basketball was to Will Chamberlain, is that I was programming computers at a time when it was very interesting and fun to me, but you also could get paid to do it. I came out of college in the early to mid 90s. That was a really good time to be coming out of college with a computer science degree. So I always liked programming computers. The video games weren't that great back then. This is like pre the first Doom. They were talking about like Atari, days. The games weren't that good. Programming computers, if you can believe it, was more fun than the games back then, because the games, like, if you've ever played, one night I planned to play, I forget the name, it's like Retribution or something. It's not exactly that. Revenge, maybe. I forget what it's called. But it's kind of looks like Space Invaders. It's on Roku. It starts with an R. It's like kind of like Revenge, but something like that. Anyway, back then, the old and school games, Pac-Man, like Yar's Revenge, Space Invaders, Centipede, Galaga. I mean, you know the games. You couldn't play them that long. You would play them and maybe you would beat one level, and then the next level would be like you would be faster. And then the next level would be faster, or there would be more enemies, or the enemies would be more aggressive. And the game was just trying to get you to stop playing. And it could usually do it, like within 10 or 20 minutes. So can you imagine? I mean, what are you going to do? Like play the same? I know there's some people who've played like Donkey Kong for 24 hours or whatever. I know that it can be done, but that's not really typical. Typical was you put in your, because these started off as arcade games. You put in your quarter, you played your game. The game had to get you to stop playing so that they could get a quarter from the next person. Or you, maybe you want to put your quarter in and try again. They didn't want you playing a long time. And then when they were in the Atari or the Nintendo and you brought the game home, actually, let's save the Nintendo discussion for another day, but at least in the Atari or ColecoVision or whatever with the old systems, they were these same type of arcade games. They weren't exactly ports, but they were the same concepts, and in some cases they were. Again, not fully ports, more like little micro copy versions, but basically they had the same concept. Like you would play the game until the game made you stop playing, and that was like 20 minutes. But even the games that you could finish, like Pitfall Harry, I think was like one of the first games that you could actually finish, or at least that I remember. Well, you finished it in 20 minutes. There's a video game on my YouTube channel where I play the whole game through, and it's the very first time I played it. I think it's called like The Man in Red or something like that. And it's kind of like a Space Invaders type of game, and basically I just play right through it, like the first time I ever play it. And it takes about 3 minutes, and I'm through the game. I think this is this thing here is not built like, it's not down far enough, which makes this not up far enough, which means I can't get this piece on. So I got to try to get this piece and this piece closer together. I'm going to pull one down, push one up, whatever you want to call it. I basically got to pull them towards each other. All right, let's try again, see if we can get it now. Because it not only has to get into those 3 holes, it has to get on top of that piece. So once we get it on, it's going to stay tight. But before we get it on, we have to get it tight without this thing keeping it tight. And it's kind of like a catch-22, right? Yeah, that is not going on yet. I'll keep trying. All right, I felt some movement. Let's try again. There's nothing there behind it, like holding it in place. That's kind of an issue as well. Presumably I can line it up and push it through, but I feel like the piece that I'm pushing it into, if it's not lined up perfectly, it's going to break it because there's nothing behind that piece. Yeah, this is not going in. Wow, no luck. I feel like I should have did this piece before I did these pieces, but I just was following the instructions and that's what they said to do. Doing it in the order they said. Alright, I have to be able to get this on. I think maybe if I start at the bottom, then the top can sort of squeeze it all together. Let me try to get that bottom piece on before I get anything else. That's working. That's it. Get the bottom piece in first. That's the way to do this. All right, so here's the bottom piece. Get that on. And then it becomes tough to get the top on, but you can do it. And it sort of squeezes the other things into place as you do it. So it's not easy, but the other way was impossible. It's not easy, but I'm telling you, that's the way to go. Some weird smell. It's coming from outside. And there's a weird sound as well. That's disturbing. There's like a whirring sound and a bad smell. Like, what could be going on out there? A whirring. It's like someone's cleaning a septic tank at midnight. I don't know what's going on. All right. Whatever's going on out there, it distracted me. I got to get my focus back. Okay, one more. Last one should be the easiest, right? Because it's got the other three pulling it down. What is this piece anyway? Anyway, whatever it is, that's what it is. And we're not even going to care, I don't think. Wow, the last one was definitely the easiest. All right, so now we have two towers here. Why we built them, I have no idea. We're still on page 51. Now we're going to build the ballastas. Are they all going to be on this board? Let me see. No. Yeah, maybe. Is this going to have a ×2? Yeah, ×2. So we're going to do this ×2. All right, let's start with this little box that they give us. So it's 183. We got that. And then 267. And then two 266s. But we have to build it twice because it's going to be a ×2. So let's add 8. So we're going from 890 to 898. And we're going to build two of these at once. I think it's all going to come from this piece. Let's see. We're going to build two ballastas, which are kind of like crossbows. But they have like a spinning ability. If you recall, we waxed these roofs. You can't really see here. This one you can see. No, you can't see either of them. Sorry. How about from here? All right, let me pull this a little forward. All right, there they are. Those roofs are waxed. That's how the ballastas are going to spin. We've done, if you look on my channel, there's another construction of a ballasta where it has a mechanical spinning mechanism, but in that case, the ballasta was the build, whereas in this case, it's just a little decoration that we're putting on the last night of the build. So it spins on a wax piece of wood, is basically what I'm trying to say. We're not here to build the ballasta. When we were doing that, we had like 10 sheets to the ballasta. Now we have one little, like, what is this, like a 1.5 inch by 4 inch sheet to build two ballastas. So they're going to be really crappy ballastas, but they're basically just going to look the part. And that's it. Well, they did have us wax that roof. So maybe they're going to spin. Let's see. I'll be impressed if they look the part and spin. Then this is like quite a good use of this little section of wood. All right, so how do we put this together? We drop this like anchor looking piece right in there. We'll use our usual formula of keeping the lines all going the same way. And then continue again that rule to put the 66s on the outside. Is that rule going to hold? I'm not sure it is. Doesn't look like it. Let's try it the other way. Wow. The rule is broken on the last day. The lines are going in perpendicular. I don't think you even can see that. Let's see if we can make it sharper. Yeah, can you see the lines yet? Perpendicular. If they go in that way. No, they don't go in that way either. Okay, no, the rule is not broken. I don't know why I thought that. It's parallel. The rule is good. Okay, let's forget I mentioned that. So they're still going in parallel. Yeah, that's parallel. Okay. I don't know what I was thinking. Let me just show you here. I don't know why this close-up camera is not working tonight. Why do my fingers look so bad? They don't really look that bad. Oh, maybe they do look pretty bad. Well, if they do, it's because of this puzzle. It's been taking all the oil out of my fingertips, drying them out. I also think it was because of the beach cleanup I did on Sunday. It was there was something that we cleaned up that was so gross that my fingers were like stinking all day, and I used that hand sanitizer like several times. I probably did like damage to my skin on my fingers, but I had to get rid of that smell. It was so bad. I don't know what the hell was going on. It was like some biological waste or something. I don't know how to describe it. Disgusting, I think, might be a decent word to describe what it was. All right, let's put the other one together and then let's move on. So anyway, today's Wednesday. I think it was Saturday was the day of the beach cleanup. So it seems like it was a while ago, but I don't know. Maybe if I put some cream on my hands like 2 days out, like on Monday, probably my hands would be healed right now. But instead now they're all dried out. But whatever. I'm sure they'll be back to normal soon enough. I probably should put some cream on them after this broadcast. This one's not going in. I don't know how much time I have to waste on this. It went in the second I said it's not going in. That happens every night. I think I've acquired some type of guardian angel of assembling these things, because I noticed that as soon as I say it's not working, the next second it works and makes a liar out of me. And that's been happening a lot. Like every time. All right, so there we go. Those two from this little box is built. Where do we go after this little box? I think here. So we put that box as a base, and we had this 3-piece structure. 261, 264, and 263. That's kind of the crossbow with an arrow. Is there going to be one on each side? I just see that it's adding to... There's circles on both sides. And there's a circle... Like it's being added to the right side. Is there going to be something added to the left? There is, yeah. But it's just going to hook onto the same thing. All right, so let's start with these 3 pieces. 261, 264, and 263. And that's times 2. So we're going from 898 to, 904? So we're in the home stretch, 904. All right. Are those pieces still here? I don't see 261. That's not here. I see 263. I see 263 here, but I don't see the other 2 pieces. I guess they're somewhere else. But let's grab the 263s while we're here. Oh, no, there's the 264. I don't know how I missed that. All right, but the 261 is not here. So that's not here. But these other 4 pieces are here. These other 2 times 2 pieces are here. Wow, that was some myopia. How did I not see that? I was staring right at the piece. By the way, it's only inked on one side. Be careful which side you direct the ink. It's only the arrowhead that's inked. But still, it is ink. The ink side, in this case, should point up towards the sky. Because down, no one will see it. Not many people are going to see it on the top either, but, that's the rule. That's what the instructions are. Ink side out, which in this case is up. All right. These are skinny pieces. They're tough to get out. Wow. Well, it didn't get broken. I thought it would for sure. The Bill Russell documentary also had a lot of, I don't want to get too controversial. They called it activist, though I'm not sure if that's accurate, because I think in Bill Russell's time, it was more like justice. Like, I don't know, does activist have a positive connotation in your mind? Like, I think of activist as like someone who's always complaining. But like, this piece broke, by the way. In Bill Russell's time, they were like legitimate injustices. Like, he went to a restaurant, and they told him he had to eat in the kitchen. And you might think, like, that doesn't sound like a big deal, but like, he's a paying customer, and his other teammates didn't have to eat in the kitchen. It was something like, I don't know what it was. Like, they didn't want him. It was like what you can imagine in a movie. Like, we don't serve their kind, except instead of their kind being a robot or an alien, like in Star Wars, it was a human being. I mean, I don't really know what they get out of making Bill Russell eat in the kitchen. Like, maybe there were people in that neighborhood who were like, they don't want to eat there after Bill Russell ate there or something. But I would say that, like, forget about those customers. I mean, that's insane. You can't be like, I suppose you could discriminate. Like, some restaurants say, like, you have to wear a sport coat. Like, I can understand. I mean, I'm not saying that I would eat at one of those places, but, they made their rule. Like, everyone who eats here needs to wear a sport coat. If that was the rule, fine. But it seemed to be like they were saying, like, you can't eat here because your skin's not the right color. Which, I mean, this happened before I was born. Bill Russell was playing here, but it sounds like to complain about that is not activism, it's justice. Like it's ridiculous that someone even thought. I don't know. I'm kind of confused. Like, it's before my time. It sounds insane. I mean, it really sounds like I don't understand what I'm even hearing. I'm not calling them a liar. I just don't understand how that was ever the case. I'm also a little bit stalling here because 261 was here, so the other 261 has to be somewhere nearby, but I don't see it. There's supposed to be two of them, right? Where's the other 261? Like, am I staring right at it? Has to be here. It's 127, 225. It's got to be somewhere. Look, another 263, another 264. Are we going to build three of these ballistas? So, like, we found extra 266s, extra 263s, but we didn't find the 261 yet. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this reference, and it's going to tell us. Okay, here it is. Apparently there's 4 261s, and they're on board 7. This board that I'm holding right now is board 11. So this is not the... There was just luck that we found 1 261 there. Board 10. Board 9. we threw out board 7 because it was empty. So now I'm picking up the pieces from the floor to see if it wasn't empty. I don't know why we thought this board was empty. Okay. Well, it's a good thing that I did, I said that I threw it out, but really it was just under the desk. I just was getting it out of my way. All right, I'm just going to pop all these 261s out right now so I can actually throw this away. And I'm not actually going to throw it away. I'm just going to, again, put it back under the desk. But anyway, here's all the 261s. I'm going to pop them all out right now. Is there anywhere where it's the reverse? I'll tell you what's weird to me is I'm in America. I guess that's probably my accent gives that away. So in America, we have this feeling like we need to have a president from every different race. Like, not at the same time, but like there needs to be, like, every race has to get their chance to be president. Like every religion, every race, every home state, it's like everybody needs to be represented. That's how we feel here. But there's a lot of countries, for example, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but like, has the president of Japan ever been anything but Japanese? And that's probably not the most extreme example. I think China probably would be a more extreme example. And then there's like, I know that South Africa had apartheid, and before that they had white people. And I'm not really like an expert on South Africa, but I believe that the white people who were in government in South Africa, they weren't native to South Africa, like they moved there. So that sounds like correct, right? Like, I mean, not correct. I mean, I'm not voting for like any sort of racial strife or certainly no crimes, because I've heard about some crazy stories from South Africa. But it does sound like, yeah, I mean, the people want to be represented by someone who was from the population that's native to there. So it doesn't sound like it's like a terrible thing. By the way, they didn't say to wax these circles, but I think we have to wax them, because if we wax them, then the crossbow ballista will move up and down. Okay, so America, everyone moved here from somewhere else. So that kind of makes sense. I guess you could say the same about Australia. But what about Britain? Like, why does Britain feel the need to have these, to have politicians who are from, I don't know, Pakistan, let's say? Like, why does Britain think that they're supposed to do that? Like, that they have to do that? Or maybe they don't think that they have to do it, but why do they do it? Because there's like something like 50 countries in Africa. And other than South Africa, I think they've all been, let's say, native. They're like, the presidents have all been from those territories, or at least look like they could have been from those territories. It's like only South Africa that's different. But then all these European countries, they feel the need to integrate. And not only to integrate, but to give away like the leadership positions, like the president, like they feel the Prime Minister of England needs to be, I think his name is Sadiq Khan, and I think he's from Pakistan or something like that. Maybe I got that wrong. But he doesn't look like traditionally native to Britain. Well, I mean, let me know if China ever has a president who doesn't look like he's like a native of China, because it doesn't seem to me something that's going to happen anytime soon. So I don't know why I'm not saying that there's any reason against it, but I'm not sure what we're hoping to accomplish. Like what are we like we not we I'm not in Britain, but like Britain makes they vote Pakistani to be prime minister. What does that do for them? I don't know. Like, am I saying something bad? What does that do for them? Like, why is that? Like, why did they need to do that? Because now they're gonna have to. The next prime minister is gonna have to be from India, and the prime minister after that's gonna have to be like from France, and then the prime minister after that's gonna have to be from an African country. And by the way, there's like 50 countries in Africa. So we may not see another prime minister of England who's ancestrally from England like forever, for like centuries. And they're doing the same thing in like Scotland and Ireland. Like what are they trying to prove? I'm like, I really don't get it. What do they think that they're accomplishing? And again, I'm not saying that it's bad. I mean, it sounds nice. Like, oh, Scotland is whoever wants to speak Scottish and whoever wants to eat haggis, and they can be Scottish. It sounds nice. It sounds nice. It sounds like a good goal. But do you know that? Do you know if everyone else is on board with this goal? Do you know if that's what this population that can numerically control the voting of Scotland, do you know if they have the same opinion? Because their opinion might be, oh, we're going to take control of the voting, and then when we're in the majority, we'll just, send all the native Scottish people, to Mars or something. They can go and get on a SpaceX flight to Mars. I mean, be careful. You don't know what you're getting into. And again, I know it sounds like, it's probably terrible what I'm saying. It probably sounds like racism to say, like, the Scottish president should be Scottish. But the problem is, every other country that's not Europe, Scotland, America, New Zealand, Australia, they're electing people president who are like ancestrally from those places. So in the Anglosphere, we've decided that that's not important and we're not going to do that anymore. Do you know if anyone's going to follow your example or not? Because if they don't, then you can end up with nowhere. Like, didn't that already happen like just last century to, it's the most famous event of the 20th century, World War II. What was the resolution of World War II? Israel was, I don't know if created is the right word or like restored or something like that, but basically there's a bunch of Jewish people and they felt that their ancestral land was Israel, but none of them lived there, or not that many of them lived there. So at the conclusion of World War II, this country was formed. Israel was formed as a country, and people moved there. I'm not really sure the history. I might be saying it wrong, but basically they had left. Someone else was living there, and then they moved back. And it's almost like I don't know if they would have moved back if there hadn't been World War II. I don't know enough about history to answer that question. There's probably like articles written about that. There's probably people who know the answer or at least speculate on the answer. But like, what's going to happen to Scottish people 100 years from now? Could they be like wandering some other part of Earth and like someone has to like fight a war to get them back to the Scottish like homeland? Or can they take over? Can people from Scotland move like to somewhere else and take over? It seems like South Africa took their country back, but how did that start? What did South Africa look like 100 years ago? Was there like wars going on? Was it like a hostile takeover? Like, how did they end up in the position, the sort of pre-Nelson Mandela position? Like, how did they get there? Was it kind of like Scotland, where they like were electing people who weren't ancestrally from there? Like, I don't know. I feel like I can come back maybe tomorrow and know the answer, because I don't know the answer right now. I'll tell you what, though. We finished page 51, so now we're moving on to page 52. I don't think we're going to get to 978 pieces. There's no way we're doing 74 pieces in the 2 pages we have left. But let's give it a go. Let's see what we get. All right, so page 52 starts off with this box. And that box has 4 pieces. And then that box, again, becomes a times 4. So that's 16 pieces. Maybe we are going to get there. So we're at 904 now. We had 16 pieces. That's 920. All right, 920 pieces. You know what's also a problem with speculating on those type of issues? Like Israel, South Africa. I mean, I'm sure that there's like people who've written books about them, but those are like college professors, and they're well informed, and they've heard the arguments, and they know which arguments go south and they shouldn't like pursue. I'm just like speaking off the top of my head. So if I said anything that was wrong, I didn't mean it. I'm just kind of thinking it through, and while doing a puzzle, and saying what, like, sort of the first thing that comes to my mind. And you might say, well, I don't have to do that. I could just not, and then I won't be risky. Yeah, I guess. But I also think that, I don't know if the world accepts this argument, but I feel that it's okay to be wrong, as long as you're not claiming that you're right. Like, I'm just thinking it through. You know, if I think it through and it's wrong, that's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, you tell me why it's wrong, and I say, oh, yeah, that makes sense. So, like, I'm not trying to convince you of something that I know is wrong, and maybe I'm right. You know, I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking, as I said, whatever it seems to me. Like, I don't see China electing anyone but Chinese president. But I do see Scotland electing people who are not Scottish. And, well, I just don't know where that's going to lead to in the future. Well, maybe it's going to work out great. You know, maybe they're doing the right thing. Maybe they're creating a culture that anyone can sort of fill in and become part of that culture. Maybe that's better. I mean, let's argue from the other side. Maybe that's better. Maybe that's better than saying, like, only Scottish people can be Scottish. You know, maybe there's other people that want to try some haggis, and they want to try, you know, whatever else is going on in Scotland. We were supposed to have 4 of these 319s. We only found 2 so far. I got to go back. Maybe there were more on that sheet. I definitely need more. Yeah, so it becomes a cultural thing. But do other people accept that argument? Like, can you go to a country in Africa and say that you're culturally African? I don't think so. I think that's one of the, like, I think I've heard discussions about that where people say, like, you can be transgender, but you can't be transracial. Now, transracial is a little different from transcultural. I don't know if you can go to, I'm just going to pick this random country. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think you can go to Kenya and say, well, I'm ancestrally Scottish, but I'm culturally Kenyan. and then run for president of Kenya. I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's totally doable. By the way, this is not the right piece. These 329. Oh, no, it is the right piece. The 329 is the right piece. But we also need 349, and we need 2 more 319s. So I need to find the 2 319s. All right, 329, 319, and I'm going to dump here for 349s. What is America's culture? How do you be culturally American? I feel like America has culture state by state. Like you can have like Texas culture, Maine culture, Pennsylvania culture. I don't know how you achieve American culture. Is there like a bland version of American? And right now in New York, they're having the UN. But I feel like New York is always like that. I mean, if you've ever lived or worked in Manhattan, it's like almost everybody has an accent. I mean, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people. Like, if there's any amount of people on a bus, on a subway, in an office building, in a meeting, there's people who weren't born in America. Like, that's New York's reputation, and it's like, as far as I know, it's like always been that way. Like, you'd have to go back. When it was called New Amsterdam, were the people from Amsterdam? Is that why they called it New Amsterdam? Like, I'm not really sure how far you have to go back until if you randomly walked into a place in Manhattan, everyone would be from Manhattan, or from America at least. Like, I don't know that time ever existed. Wow, I'm like breaking my fingers popping these pieces out. There's only 2 pieces left on this board. This 292 and this 319, and they're probably both extras. So I'm going to pop them out, leave them on the side, and then throw this board away. I'm not really going to throw it away, but I'm going to get it out of my way. I'll throw it away tomorrow. All right. We're done with board 9. This was board 9. Not to be confused with Ernest Borgnine. All right. Here's our 2 ballistas. We haven't done anything with them yet. And we're about to build, I don't know what. 358. We don't have all the pieces. 358. Where's 358? Here's 358. There's 4 of them right there. Wow, this little section is taking a while. I think because I was talking about that topic, it was taking away my attention. Like, I'm okay with being wrong on like most topics, but when you're wrong on like a racial cultural topic, I feel like you're running the risk of like offending a lot of people. Like, if you could be wrong on calculus, it's just like, oh yeah, this guy, he just doesn't know calculus. I don't know, he's an idiot. But if you're wrong on like a cultural or racial or that type of issue, there's like, you're not allowed to be wrong. It's like, you're not wrong, you're bad. Like, like, I know computers really well. I never accuse people who don't know computers of being bad. Oh, how long were you here listening to my speech? I was talking about this nonsense topic. Okay, I was talking about nonsense. I was talking about, if you're wrong about calculus, then you're just stupid. But if you're wrong about like race relations, then you're like a criminal. Like, it seems kind of unfair, doesn't it? Like, because what? I'm supposed to now major in like race relations? There's no jobs for that. You know, people major in computers because there's jobs in computers. All right, so now we built this little thing, and we have to attach it to this disk. And yeah, it lines up. Remember the rule about the tab and the insert having like parallel lines? That's blurry. That's blurry. I don't know. I can't get a good image from this camera today, but hopefully you can see that the lines are parallel on both the tab and the slot. Yeah. So it's okay to be wrong. If it's a tough topic, it's not okay to be wrong if it's a topic that rubs someone the wrong way. Why do I feel like if the mathematicians of the world got together and said they think it's offensive when you're wrong about calculus, I feel like it wouldn't get traction. Like nobody would take them seriously. They're like, a bunch of nerds. You know, like nobody's gonna listen to them. But if you get something culturally wrong, then you're like a horrible person. Well, that's the way it goes, you know. Don't get that stuff wrong, I guess. This is a trickier piece than you would think. Try to get this like tight before I try again. It's actually tough to even get it tight. I feel like I need pliers or something. All right, let's try again. And we got to do 4 of these. And each one is going to be a struggle. All right, I got this one. Well, maybe not. I thought I had it. It's like the same as other times. It's like you push one side in and the other side comes out. Yep, finally. Now we just got to do that 4 more times. Will it get easier or tougher as we do them? It'll probably be the same. I don't think it's going to get easier or tougher. Well, I guess I kind of know what I need to do now. It should get easier in that sense. I know what needs to be done. I know I need to push these in tight so that I can get them onto the circle at the end. And I know the circle can be done, so I can be confident that if I wiggle it into place and then push it in, it's going to go in. I know that it can be done. All right, got it kind of started there. Yep, definitely went quicker the second one than the first one. Let's see how the third one goes. Ah, it's not totally in. I thought I had it. Come on. I think one side pulled out when I was putting the other side in. All right, now it's in on both sides. All right, 2 more. I don't know how I haven't pulled out the pliers yet. That would be helpful for squeezing these together. All right. Let's get the last one. I haven't put them on the circle yet, but I'm just like pushing them together. And then I'll put them on the circle. All right. Getting the last 2 onto the circles. When you see me like all of a sudden squeeze forward, that's because I feel like I've got one of them lined up and I'm trying to get it started. It's actually not working with this piece. Yep, not working. But I'm going to keep trying. Gets kind of looser the more you fiddle with it, which makes it less, more likely to come apart, but also more likely to put back together. I guess if you were to get it in snug on the first attempt, that would be the strongest connection. But good luck with that. All right, one more to go after this one. One more tab on this one, and then one more of these things in general. Yep, last one. Here we go. Let's see if we finally get one in without a hassle. Nope. Come on. All right, got it. What next? All right, we're going to put some stuff on the top. You know what? This is not next. This is the first thing. The first thing we're supposed to do is put those two towers on. So how do we do that? All right, let's grab the towers. Okay. Are we looking at this from the right direction? I think so. We've got the little balcony in the middle. All right, so the dragon is going to go on the right, and this mushroom building on the left. Where does the door go? It's not clear where the door goes. Should the door go... The door should go here, right? Okay, let's just think this through. All right. There's a sidewalk here. There's a door here. So the door should go to the sidewalk, right? But this door is like elevated. So maybe it's just a balcony? I don't know what's the answer. Oh, no, it's not a balcony. It sinks down in. Okay. Well, then it really doesn't matter because this whole thing spins. So if it's going to sink in like this, yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't know if you saw that, but I probably had the wrong camera angle. Basically, it's sunk in. The door is like down here. Oh, maybe that's the answer. No, that's not the answer. Maybe it is. Like, no, the door is up here. Anyway, it doesn't matter because it spins. Okay, so the door is here, and he can walk on that path. Okay. The door is here. It's lined up with this sidewalk, but this thing spins, so it doesn't really matter. All right, so we put the dragon in the other side, and again, it's going to spin. So we'll line up that door, but it's not going to matter. I think there's tabs at the bottom. This one caught the tabs at the bottom. I don't know if this one did. I wasn't paying attention. There we go. All right. They both caught the tabs at the bottom. So, for some reason, these towers spin. I don't really know what we're doing here, why they spin, but they spin. I guess it'll make sense at some point. All right. Let's put the ballistas on. They're going to go... Let's spin this whole castle again. So the ballistas are going right here and here. Here and here. I don't know if they're going to spin, though, because it's a square peg. I'm going to face them out, and I don't think they're going to spin, which makes me wonder, why did we bother waxing the roof here if nothing can spin? We got... Basically, it can rotate up and down. It would be able to spin if they would give us a round connector, but they didn't. They gave us a square connector. Squares don't spin. But we're just going to add it in there, and that's it. I'm just going to connect it. Wow, it didn't stay connected. Okay, the tab came out. Try that again. Okay, you can't push by the base. You have to push by the top, because the base will just slide off. You have to push by the top. All right, that's on now. So there we go. Oh, can't see it because of the instructions. Okay. Wow. All right, let's go to camera 4 and pull back. Now you can see it. All right. So there's the little ballista. And we're going to do the one on the other side here. Let me get the instructions out of the way since we're working at the top. Not the instructions, the scoreboard. All right, so right here. That's where the other ballast is going to go. So you can't push it by this base. By the way, it's a star shape, 5-pointed star, that base. If you know anything about the old star forts. Anyway, you can't push it by the base or the base will just slide off. If you push it by the top, it'll just spin back. You have to squeeze these two circles. That's the only way to get this on. All right, did we get it on? I think so. It's in there. All right, we got the ballastas on. Now, these last pieces, they're probably going to hold something. But for now, we're just going to stick them. There's like these rectangles up here, and we're just going to stick them on these rectangles. I didn't look ahead to see what the point of these rectangles are. I'm just sticking these things on them. I guess it'll be a surprise to all of us. I know we still have a bunch of like triangle pieces. I don't know if that's going to be, if they're going to be extra or if they're going to be used. Like maybe there's one more tower triangle, you know, like these triangles. Maybe there's going to be one that goes there. There's got to be something that goes there. And we've only got, we just finished page 52. We're now on page 53, which I believe is the last page. Yeah, we're on the last page. By the way, it uses 3 sheets. It uses 9, 10, and 11. We only have 2 sheets left, 10 and 11. We don't have sheet 9, but sheet 9 only has 1 piece, and I think it's this piece. So I guess we don't need sheet 9 because we have the piece. Anyway, what do we need? There's actually a lot to this final page. So right here, 357, 359, then 341, 42, 43, and 44. Now, that's 4 pieces. But if you look at this graphic, that's more than 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 pieces. So these instructions are getting a little lazy at the end here. They clearly want 8 pieces, but they're only mentioning 4. I'm going to assume that you put the 4 in and then they repeat like clockwise, counterclockwise. Like, I don't really know. You know, we're just going to take a look at the pieces and hope that they make sense. All we got is one little image here that doesn't tell us diddly squat. But, you know, we'll figure it out. All right, so anyway, that's 10 pieces because it's the top, the bottom, and 8 pieces in the middle, so that's 930. I mean, we're getting up there, 930 pieces. All right, so 357 is the base. 359 is the top. I feel like we're building exactly that thing that we were talking about that's going to go here. Probably. All right, now here's the 341 through 44. They obviously want 2 sets of these. They look like they're kind of the same pieces to me, but I'll try to keep them in order for whatever that's worth. So I'll put the 341s at the top, then the 342s, 43s, and then I'm tempted to say and so on, but there's only one more, so I'll just say and the 344s. 343, am I right? Frankie never got it. 343. Yeah, Frankie O'Connor, huh? I feel bad. I mean, I know I've interacted with the guy a few times. I met him at the Halo 3 multiplayer beta launch party, and I spoke to him online a few times. I'm on we're connected on LinkedIn, but he got like, I don't know how many hundreds of million. I mean, not for himself, but for the production of Halo Infinite. And it has so far not been received well by the community. Like, they had this strategy where they hired people who didn't like Halo because they thought that they would get Halo to reach the communities that didn't like Halo. And it didn't work. So what they ended up doing was distancing themselves from the people who loved Halo and not reaching the people who didn't like Halo. So do you follow that? They got hundreds of millions to make Halo Infinite, and they hired people who didn't like Halo to make it, hoping to reach the new audience, like Fortnite or whatever, and they didn't. But they managed to piss off the people who were the Halo fan. And the people who were the Halo fans, they're like, well, I don't need to be. I mean, 343 did some good stuff. They remastered all the original Halos, and people like that. But, people are just playing the old Halos. Like, they don't feel the need to play Halo Infinite. They don't feel like it's their game, So people think it's easy to we have a hit franchise. Let's just milk that from now until the end of time. Not as easy as you might think. Look at the New York Yankees. You think managing baseball? Why is Brian Cashman considered a great general manager if he doesn't win anything? What is he doing that's so great? It used to be we were talking about Bill Russell. Bill Russell got respect because he won. What does Brian Cashman do that we're all supposed to be so impressed with him? He doesn't win. He doesn't put together a team that wins. And then that Boone, is that his name? The third baseman who's been manager for a few years. I mean, I'm not trying to say anything against him. It's kind of like a long repeating tale with the Yankees. They spend a lot of money, and it doesn't nearly line up with the amount of wins that they get. Feel bad saying it, but it's the truth, isn't it? Yeah. Just thinking again, Bill Russell won. I mean, it's different in basketball. One player can carry the team, but I don't know. In baseball, if the one player is really good, you just walk them. It's no avoiding. Who is behind? There was no avoiding Bill Russell, is what I was going to say. Who is behind trying to make everyone love LeBron James? It didn't work, but someone was trying to do it. Someone was like, we're going to make LeBron James break the scoring record, win the championship, be a role model. Someone was really trying to create LeBron James. He wasn't he wasn't just playing basketball. It's someone was trying to create a character. And if they'd have done that with I don't know, someone on the Warriors, I guess it would have worked, but it didn't work with LeBron. I mean, some people like him. They actually, the sneakers are pretty good. My kids wear them, the LeBron sneakers. So I guess in a way it worked. Well, that was probably part of the strategy, right? They probably gave him the best sneakers, as well, which means that we're probably talking about his shoe company. When we're saying who did this, well, I guess it was the shoe company. All right, so going back to the instructions here. So we did this. That was 8. Now we come down here. Could you believe how many pieces we're using on this last section here? So now we're using 361 times 8. So that's 8 pieces. So we're going from 930 to 938. There's a lot of pieces in this last little whatever castle topper that we're doing here. There's going to be this flag, I assume, at some point. By the way, is the flag the only piece left on this board? It is. So that means we're dealing with this board for the rest of the way. All right, 361 times 8. So here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's the 8 361s right there. Let's pop them out. 1, 2, 3. You know what is we were talking about that racist stuff earlier. How about protecting kids? Like I wish that would get the same like zeal as the racial stuff. Like why is that? Why does the TV love the racial stuff? Like I wish it would love protecting kids. I wish that would be the main thing. I know that it's like not fun. I mean, it's horrible, but like it's not like racism is fun to talk about. Like none of this stuff is fun to talk about. I don't know. I don't mean to put like one thing over the other. I just feel like that Bill Russell was in like the 1950s and we're still talking about. I got some bad splinter here, but I can't see it. I can only feel it. Yeah, okay. I think I got it. Yeah, I can see it, but I'm going to need tweezers or something. All right, I got it with my fingernails. So, racism is an important thing to stop, obviously. We all agree with that. But Bill Russell was in the 1950s and 1960s. And that this would still be the hot topic like 60 years later. It's not that I'm saying it shouldn't be, but I'm saying not only did the whole like drug trade build up in those 60 years, but the human trafficking trade build up. And I just feel like, is there some way we can focus our attention to what's currently the biggest problem? Not saying that the other things aren't problems, not saying that they aren't important, not saying there weren't terrible things in the past. I'm just saying, like, what's the big problem today? And how can we make that the highest priority? Because some people aren't even thinking about it at all. I know I've mentioned this a few times already, but like the mainstream media was like telling people don't see Sound of Freedom. Like why? Why were you saying that? Like you want people to not be aware of the most horrible thing happening in the world today? I mean, I agree that it's like not pleasant to think about. It's not a comedy, it's not a musical, but someone has to help these kids. This has to stop. The people who work in this business need to stop before they start. Like, they need to know what they're doing is horrible. They should already know, but they need to hear it from everybody around them, and to the point that they can't possibly work in that business anymore. This pin is not going in. The others all went in fairly easily. This one's not going in at all. I'm going to try the next location, see if it goes in easier there. It does. So what was wrong with that previous location? Let's try another one there. There's definitely something about this location that's not working. It's, I'm not sure what. I think it's like this window is like damaged, the lower pin. So let's focus on the upper pin. Yeah, I think. Let's focus on the upper pin, get that in first. That's not happening. Let's go to the next one. Again, easy. There's something very wrong with this one. It won't go in there. All right, I'm going to try to like clean that out. I don't know what's even going on in there. I just figure that trying to clean it out maybe will help. Let's try the next one. Still not going in. Something very wrong with this one. All right, maybe it's the top. All right. Let's try this last one. Yeah, that went in. So it's only this one that's not going in. And I don't know why. I'm going to like kind of go in there with this needle nose and kind of open this up. Not open it up. Really what I'm doing is tucking in what's there. Like making it wider. Oh, that's what I need to do. I need to get this key piece in and make it wider. I remember this from other pieces. If you put the key in, it has a taper to it. And once you get it in, you can make the inside wider. So some of the like inside there were like folded down. And I think they were blocking this piece from going in. So I thought I fixed it, but it's still not going in. What do you think? Should I like push it in with all my force and probably break it? Or just leave it like half-assed? Let's push with all force and probably break it. All right. Something happened. I heard a clicking sound. All right. I guess that's as good as we're going to do. It's not perfect, but it's in there. Maybe we're going to have problems additionally when we try to build on top, but let's see. All right, next up is the flag. So 292 and the flag. And after we take that flag, we have only one board left. So technically this instruction ended 2 boards because that 292 came from board 7. And this flag, which is 336, comes from board 10, and board 10 is now empty. I've got like 4 boards under the table right now. I actually have 5 boards under the table right now. And there's 6 ones here, and we only had 11 from the beginning. All right, now I have to put this on top. How's that going to go? So we're trying to make, what, 8 connections at once? Yep, that's not going to be easy. But we're going to get it. Don't have a single one of the 8 yet. But how hard could it be? All right, I'm going to take off my glasses and try to get a close look at this. I just figure I got to get like one of these in. And then I can work off of that. I feel like I'm breaking, yep, I'm breaking what we previously did. More than I am getting something new going. I'm breaking what we did on the last section. Well, let's try again. I know that I'm like off camera, but I don't know what else to do. It's like I need to get it near my eyes so I can see it. And I don't know how to do that and put it on camera at the same time. Yeah, this is impossible. I got none of this lined up. All right, I'm just going to try looking through the top. That seems like Yeah, that's... Let's try this. Looking through the top, through the 292. That seems like that should work. I don't know if it will, but it did. That worked. That's the answer. You look through the top. Wow, I just knocked one of them off. I guess it's not totally the answer. It worked for 7 of the 8 of them. Not for the 8th one. I bet you it's that same one we couldn't get on the previous section. All right. I'm going to pinch that while I put it on the top. We got it. This is done. I think we got all 8 of them. All right. I'll put it back on camera here because I think it's done. I should put my glasses on. I was totally working by touch there for the last few seconds. All I saw was like a yellow blob in the middle. All right, now I at least can see. All right, so it's on. Now we plant the flag. Did we count these 2 pieces? We didn't. 940. So we're at 940. All right, that's the, remember the rule? Is it still close up? Remember the rule? Parallel lines. That's the way this flag goes in. Parallel lines. That's the answer. All right. What's next? All right. How many of these are they building? All right. So 364 and 356 times 8. So that's 16 pieces. So that's going to bring us from 940 to 956. We're almost done, right? 978 pieces. Okay. So we're about to add, we're going to put the panels on this piece. And those panels are made up of 8 356s and 8 364s. So these are probably all spare parts here. There's a spare dragon, spare torch. It's good. Good amount of spare parts. I like it. All right, let's start popping these out. We need 8 of them. I can't touch this board. I can't touch the mat because it's full of splinters. And if I touch it, then I'll be full of splinters. I've already went through that tonight. Try to avoid that. So I'm like hovering over the mat. No rest. All right, what are we? Hour and 40 in. We're gonna get this done. I don't know if we'll have time to like play with the music box when it's done, but we'll give it a shot at least. What's my battery at? 46%. Let me plug the battery in right now so I don't forget. Because you know it's like, you know this is going to take some time still. All right. I'm just plugging the battery in. Apologies for the lack of content for a few seconds. All right. Now we're on we're charging. We're charging the battery on the YOLO box, which is how I stream. All right, now we need the 364s, which are right here. We need 8 of them. Not a super important piece, but a piece nonetheless. You know, they're not coming out very easily, these 364s. They're long, skinny pieces, which are notorious for being the toughest to get out. Do you like it better when I go with this speed? Because I don't. I like better pace myself, but we need to finish this. We're at day 28. This cannot go for any more days. Has to be done. I'm on the last page of the instructions. And I'm on the last board. Last board, last page of instructions. Sorry. I love you. Okay. Yeah. 2 more 364s. And then we'll start snapping this together. My goodness, these 364s will not come out of the board. Do you hear that sound? These boards have been fighting me since day one. They don't want to let go of the pieces. And that's why there's splinters everywhere. I have to check my hands for splinters after this episode. Alright, so how do these go on? With that sloping part at the top, if you can believe it. And then it goes into the top. The first and third slots, that's where it goes. Kind of seems like not how I would expect it to go. Let me put one of these on before I build the other 7. I'm going to build them first, put them on second, but I just want to check that this is going to work before I go any further. So now this one should go on the second and third. How's that going to look? How's that going to work, more importantly? Well, I guess that's it. Yeah, that's going to work. All right, 7 more of those. First and third. Nobody out. Wait, no, that's baseball. They didn't ink. Look at this. Look at this line down the middle where they didn't ink. Because this piece is going to cover it up, so they didn't need to ink it. I don't know how I feel about that. Are they saving on ink, or are they just showing off their skill? I think I like it. I think it shows that they know what they're doing. Why waste ink that nobody's ever going to see? I know you wouldn't do that if you were like painting the room in your house. But I think for this model, it makes sense. This mass production model that's going to be printed by a computer. Yeah, I think I'm fine with it. I think it makes sense. Wow, 8 of these. I guess we're basically doing the facade now. So we got to do a lot of pieces that are like just for show. So I've been trying to go extra fast tonight, and somehow I haven't messed up. I thought for sure I would, but yeah, I don't think I messed up once tonight. I'm probably going to mess up now that I said that. But there it is. That piece didn't, no, that wasn't a mess up. That piece just went in a little slanted, and then we corrected it. Now we got to put these on. So one of them's on. So we got 7 more to go. It's tricky, actually. Like, if I push this piece too hard, I can end up pushing out a lot of other pieces, and it's going to be tough to put it all back together. So I'm not going to push too hard. I'm just going to get these things on and then move on to the next one. And then at the end, I'll go around and make sure that it all looks good, possibly pushing some of them on further at that point if I need to. But for now, I'm just going to get them all basically on. Huge splinter on that one. I'm not going to worry about it. It's going to get covered up by the next shingle anyway. Okay, 3 more to go. Okay, 2 to go. What's left after this? Well, something, I guess. We're not up to 978 yet, but we're close. 956. Wow. We're only 22 pieces away. Whatever's left, I guarantee you it's not important. It's like decorations or whatever. Should I guarantee that? Maybe there's something important, some connector that's going to make the music play. I don't know. Anyway, this is done. Probably going to go right there. Looks like it, right? Plus here, plus here. But let's wait for the instructions to tell us All right. The instructions tell us. This is it, by the way. We're not going to get to 978. That was the last construction. This piece that we just built, that's the last thing. We're going to put that on the top, and then we're going to be done. So let's pull this out so we can see the top. Yeah, that's it. Only one green line there. Just drop it on top. There's the cable from when I plugged it in. All right, so let's do this. Let's get this on here. Day 28. Piece 956. I guess we never got to 978. So it's on now. I'm not sure how to get this camera up a little higher. Can it pull back any further? No, it can't. I'm going to have to like just lift it up with my hand. So there's the castle. Should have had the handy cam ready. There it is from up top. Kind of looks like that Disney like magical castle or whatever they have. All right, let me move camera 1. No, I don't want to move camera 1. All right, I'm going to go back to camera 4. And I'm going to change the angle a little bit just for tonight. All right, so now we can get that whole castle there. All right. All right. Here's the castle. Let's go back to the instructions for a second. So that's it. It's done. Okay, there's a caution here. The caution says move that thing to the right and then crank the crank. Okay, so we're going to do that. So they want us to move this to the right. Oh, it moved. I was worried it wouldn't. And then crank the crank. Which direction? I just want to show you it. It says counterclockwise. Crank the crank counterclockwise. So this piece wasn't moving all. Like I checked on this, like there's 28 days. I probably checked on it like at least 15 of the 28 days. And it wouldn't move. Now at the end it moved. And now they want this to go counterclockwise. So let's see what happens when I turn it counterclockwise. I think it's going to break maybe. Yeah, it broke. I'm not sure what was supposed to happen. Well, that's a shame. Let's see if we can get that music to play some other way. Like what was supposed to happen with that crank. Yeah, I knew it was going to break. You know what? The arrows on this say to crank it this way. Why in their instructions did they say to crank it the other way? Because look, these arrows show clockwise, but in the instructions, it showed counterclockwise. I think I shouldn't have followed the instructions. I think I should have followed what's painted on here. Like maybe that would have worked. Only now I've broken it and I don't think it's possible for it to work because I broke it. Let me try to turn it with a wrench. Not that you would want to do this, but I feel like I was kind of screwed by the instructions giving me bad advice. Let me try to turn it now, matching the direction in the picture. Can't get it. Let's try the smaller pliers, because we can dig those in there. All right. Now let's try turning it clockwise. See if we have any better luck. All right, I got it in there. Yeah, that feels better. Clockwise. Let's see what happens. Maybe it was supposed to be like you crank it clockwise and then you release that stick at the bottom and it goes the other way. All right, let's try. Nothing. Nothing's happening. Let's try turning these things. Nothing. Does this turn? All right, this does turn. I don't know. The music is not playing. All right, so I'm not sure. It was supposed to be a music box. This switch is supposed to help us. I think everything is supposed to spin. I think this coil in here is supposed to hold the energy. We're supposed to crank this, maybe this way, and then release this. So I think you crank this, it stores the energy. You release this, and everything spins and the music plays. But I did something wrong, and that doesn't happen. The drawbridge opens. Let's check that out. Or is that broken too? No, okay, the drawbridge still opens and still closes. In here, this is what's supposed to play the music. I don't know. I don't know how to... We got ballistas that go up and down. We got drawbridge that goes up and down. We have this structure spins, but it doesn't play the music. Okay. It didn't play perfect, but it played. All right. So I guess that's it. 117 minutes. So that's under 2 hours. I'm John Rapp. This is Just Rest Your Eyes. Good night, and see you tomorrow when we start a new puzzle. Good night.